Well, they're not budging. Not that we expected them to. And I have absolutely no problem with that. 6:05, good morning, and it's great to be here on KCMO 95.7 FM. There was a nice little chill in the air across Kansas City today. 40 degrees as I'm walking out the door. And I'll tell you what, it felt damn good. Oh, my goodness, did it feel good, Mark.
I enjoyed that. And last night, my wife wanted to turn the heat off, but we didn't turn it on yet.
You didn't turn the heat on?
We kept it off.
I had to crank it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. It's how I run, man. It's how I run. But it felt good. It felt good to swap those dampers and get that heat flowing for a little bit last night. So we had some heat flowing at the White House yesterday. The president welcomed in Senate Republicans to basically present a united front. To be clear, it was a dog and pony show. But it's a dog and pony show that I believe was an important reminder to the Democrats as we hit week 4 of this government shutdown. Day 22, week 4 has started, and there is no end in sight. And it was basically just a reminder yesterday from the Republicans to the Democrats that, guys, we're not budging. And most importantly, there's nothing to negotiate right now. This is something that was made pretty clear by John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader. John Thune is the Senate Majority Leader. I've got some audio from him that you'll be able to hear here coming up in a couple of minutes on KCMO, where he made it very clear that he is not negotiating, and here's what he had to say.
About opening up the government, we have offered them several off-ramps now. The Democrats want something that's totally untenable, as Senator Barrasso said. I mean, they want $1.5 trillion in new spending. They want free health care for people who are non-citizens in this country. That is just a flat non-starter. It doesn't pass the Senate. It won't pass the House. It won't be signed into law by the president. What you do have is a bill that's passed the House, sitting at the desk in the Senate, that the president's prepared to sign to open up the government. So I'm not sure. People keep saying, negotiate. Negotiate what? I don't know what that is right now. The government needs to open up, and then we're happy to sit down and talk about any other issues the Democrats want to talk about.
That is just common sense from John Thune, Senate Majority Leader. Hey, listen, we're sitting here, government shut down, we're starting week 4, and there's nothing for us to negotiate. You guys don't like things that we did in the big, beautiful bill. You're upset about it. I get it. We won elections. That's how this works. And now you're holding the government hostage, and you're also holding hostage people who, trying to get paid, who work for the government, because you're upset with basically the outcome of last year's election. That's what this is really about. A hissy fit over the outcome of last year's elections. And that is not how this works. And that's why I don't know how you get either side to blink right now. Democrats appear very dug in, and Republicans are like, guys, there's nothing for us to negotiate here. Now, why are Democrats dug in? They're dug in part because they want to see the subsidies for Obamacare return. And you're starting to see more social media fodder about this from Democrats. And what they're doing is they're highlighting various constituents who are starting to get their Obamacare subsidies or their Obamacare bills without the subsidies for 2026. And they're putting videos of them up on social media. This comes from a member of the U.S. Senate in Oregon. His name is Ron Wyden. And he posted this video last night of 2 of his constituents. An older couple who relies on the ACA. They are retired, and they are seeing their Obamacare subsidies go away. As a result, their bill is going up. Now, take a listen to this couple, and you tell me what stands out to you as you listen to this couple in Oregon in a now viral social media post talk about how the cost of their health insurance is going up because the Republicans, in part, stripped out the subsidies for Obamacare that were basically artificially keeping the prices low.
My name is Carla Zimmerman. I just retired in June from 25 years of teaching.
My name is Bartley Armitage. I've been in Eugene, Oregon for most of 45 years. I was a union carpenter for over 30 years and still a member of the Carpenters Union.
Our current premium is $443 a month.
Through the ACA.
Through the ACA, and which is manageable for us, both retirees. However, it's going up to $2,224 a month. We are kind of in shock. That's without the subsidy. With the subsidy, it's manageable for us. We still live paycheck to paycheck, but it's manageable.
Okay. You got a couple that's retired. They were paying $400 a month for Obamacare. Now, without the subsidy, they're going to be paying $2,200 a month. They're both retired. It's tough out there for everybody right now. But you know what they can go do? Get a job. You tell me why the rest of us should be subsidizing their health insurance through Obamacare. Either go back to work or quit whining about how taxpayers aren't being stolen from enough to make your life easier. Because that's what I just heard. Like, I don't think that's going to play like Democrats think it's going to play. I really don't. And the crux of the whole deal is what? Obamacare is an utter failure. Obamacare that was supposed to be this great new way for people to have affordable insurance, the Affordable Care Act, is anything but affordable unless it is further subsidized by the government to the tune of, in the case of this couple in Oregon, $1,600 a month. This thing is broken. It has no future. And the only way they can keep it alive is by pumping more government money into it. It is an utter failure. That's the story here, that Obamacare is an utter failure. And putting up videos of your constituents being like, man, without the government pumping in more money, man, I'm going to be going up $1,600 a month on health insurance. By the way, talk to young families right now. Whether it's through the employer or whether it's through the Affordable Care Act or it's through any other health insurance plan. You think it's easy out there right now? I mean, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. And I don't think most Americans want to hear it. How the government needs to be pumping more money into the health insurance industry, that is totally broken. The costs have far exceeded the inflation rate over the last 15 years, which is the opposite of what we were told was going to happen when the bill passed early in Obama's first term. So that's the core of what this is really all about. And I think what's going to happen here is that you'll probably see this from Sharice Davids here in Kansas. Maybe Emmanuel Cleaver does this as well, but I don't think Emmanuel Cleaver's staff knows how to operate a camera and a microphone. Sharice Davids at least has some good people around her. But they will probably do very similar things. They will probably find constituents who will get their Affordable Care Act bills. They will post them on social media. They will share their stories, and they will say, this is what we're fighting for. That's what they're going to do.
I like this because when they are accusing the Republicans of not wanting to negotiate, they're actually draining the swamp. You don't get something for doing the right thing. That's the swampy part of government. No.
Yep, I'm with you, man. I'm absolutely with you. So that's where this is at. Roger Marshall, Kansas U.S. Senator, he was at the White House yesterday with the president. He will be here in less than 1 hour at 7:05 on KCMO Talk Radio. We'll get the update on what that meeting was like, what he heard behind closed doors, and much more. Now, coming up, if you could revitalize Grand Boulevard, what would you do? Well, there's a group that is making the case that it's time to revitalize the 3-mile strip downtown Kansas City, Missouri. And I love what they want to do, but I think they're a little, shall we say, overly optimistic. I'll explain and get to you coming up on KCMO Talk Radio. Text line's hitting hard right now, 913-408-7957. Pete, the audio of that couple you played right before the break saying that they can't afford the Obamacare increases, yet they're living paycheck to paycheck and retired. Maybe they should go back to work. Sounds like they couldn't afford to retire yet.
Talk about a bombshell.
That's exactly right. I mean, I'd love to retire. It's not happening. My kids are 6, 4, and 1. But sure, I'd love to sleep in. That sounds pretty nice. How about you, Mark? You've been doing this for a long time. You want to sleep in, baby? Take a little time off, retire?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a great time.
I know.
Please.
It would. And I won't even ask John. John doesn't want to retire, okay? No. John is in this thing till he's 90-something years old. I'm not letting him leave. He's not going anywhere. All right? That's just how it goes. So I'm not even letting John pop the mic when it comes to the R word. I don't want to give him any ideas. Mark, you're up in Independence. What's up, big man?
Hey, I'm calling because I was going to say that couple must retire awfully young, because otherwise they could be on Medicare and Medicare supplement, or better yet, a Medicare Advantage plan. So there's more to the story than what we're hearing, and I don't want to hear them whine.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, brother. Listen, if you retired, like you said, in your 50s willingly, theoretically you did it because you could. And then if you say you're living paycheck to paycheck, it sounds to me like you're not quite ready to retire.
I agree.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. I just shared the clip on X at Pete Mundo. You can see it there and watch it for yourself. Now, you tell me, if there is something you could do with Grand Boulevard downtown, what would you do with it to revitalize it? And, Mark, you cannot put a sports book in every street corner, okay? You can't go FanDuel and DraftKings and BetMGM and BetESPN. We can't just have a sports book in every corner along Grand Boulevard to make it a sexy place to be again.
That does sound fun, though. Sounds like Las Vegas.
I'm sure it does to you. Sure it does to you. But this was part of a package yesterday. KCTV5 reporting that the Downtown Council is leading a new effort to revitalize Grand Boulevard. They want to make it like Michigan Avenue in Chicago. All the fancy stores and, all the way, River Market down to Crown Center. Now, right out of the gates, I'm like, okay, admirable, sounds great. Do we have the bodies, do we have the demand in a free market to have the plaza hopefully be revitalized, right? Which is what we all hope is going to happen with the fancy stores and the nice outlets and things like that. While also having Grand Boulevard and all 3 miles of it look like Michigan Avenue in Chicago, which is what the Downtown Council wants to do. I love big ideas. I love shooting for the stars. But this one, I don't see it, especially considering right now you've got apartment complexes on Grand Boulevard that are asking for more subsidies because basically they can't rent the place out because people are afraid of being shot and mugged. That's what's going on right now downtown. Here was KCTV5, part of the package. This came from Grace Smith.
This was a retail corridor that was second to none. What we want to do is make it into what is today a wonderful mixed-use environment that brings in the development that we'd like to see. Everything from residential, retail, more development as it relates to high-end retail.
So the goal is to create a master plan to develop a defined district addressing eyesores, nuisance businesses, crimes, failing infrastructure, and deferred maintenance.
It's heading in the right direction.
Changes that Spino says will hopefully put Grand Boulevard back on the map.
Sounds good. Makes for a nice television story. I'm not knocking KCTV5. I'm not knocking the reporter Grace Smith. I'm not. But this is pie in the sky, man. That's what this is. All right? Let's be clear. We've talked a lot about Grand Boulevard over the last few weeks, mostly around shootings in parking lots and whether or not empty parking lots are responsible for people committing heinous crimes. And the Downtown Council, and I respect them for having this vision. That was the voice of Sean O'Byrne. He's the VP of Business Development for the Downtown Council. It's not going to happen, and it's not because of anything he's not doing or is doing. As long as you have a city council that is still struggling with the basics, that is still having a hard time figuring out when exactly we're going to have a brand new jail downtown, that still needs to continue to hire police officers, that is still trying to get his prosecutor's office straightened out, that still doesn't know if it wants to blame the guns or the empty parking lots or the Republicans in Jeff City or whoever for the increases in crime. As long as all those things are going on, man, Grand Boulevard is not going to turn into Michigan Avenue. Not that Chicago doesn't have its own set of problems. Absolutely, Chicago does. But Chicago, because of its size, is able to protect certain parts of its city And Michigan Avenue, obviously, is their crown jewel, and they'll protect it. But in Kansas City, if you turn Grand Boulevard into Michigan Avenue, then what happens to the plaza? There's just not enough bodies here. There's not enough demand to make it happen, John.
We spent decades trying to kill downtown. I don't know what they think is going to draw people back to it, No place to park. Oh, here's a place to park. Look out, there's a streetcar. Just hit your door. You parked in the wrong place, buddy.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, stop that streetcar. I want to get on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can put a Dollar General down there. Come on.
Yeah. Well, Mark wants to put a sports book in every corner. I told him that's probably not a great idea.
That might be the closest thing to working.
Hot
dog
you're
cart
right.
and the sports book.
You're right.
Gotta wait till December 1st.
Oh, man.
That is the price of turkey legs, though. Tariffs.
Oh, my goodness. Like, I'm all about new ideas and being bold, but I just, when there's something clear like this that just doesn't have any juice, it's very obvious it's not going to work. Pete, how about a Sunfresh market? Oh, I see what you did there on the text line.
Free bus ride to the free grocery store.
Oh, my goodness. 913-408-7957 is our text line and our studio line on KCMO.
I think to your point, you have 1-year plan, 3-year plan, 5-year plan. This is one of those 10-year things. It's something to work towards, but you've taken so long killing downtown. It ain't popping back with a new storefront.
Yeah, I agree. It's not. And on the text line, Pete, we don't want to be more like Chicago. No. Michigan Avenue is an admirable thing to try to aspire to have. If you've been down to Michigan Avenue, you got all the fancy stores. It's basically the plaza on a lake. That's basically what Michigan Avenue is. Or the plaza in its heyday. Not what it is today, sadly. But what the plaza was in its heyday, that's Michigan Avenue in Chicago. Except much bigger, obviously, way more stores just because of the size and scope. Let's go to Parkville. That's where Victor is this morning before the bottom of the hour. What's up, Victor?
Good morning, Pete. You missed the part that says mixed use. That's what you need to focus on. Because with all the stores that they got, if you take everybody in this whole entire area on both sides of the border, you got everything from Zona Rosa north of the river down to the Overland Park Mall south of the river, down you got the plaza. There's not enough people to go ahead and make all this grandiose, plaza shopping. This is about the mixed use, about converting these buildings into apartments, condos, or whatever. This is an updated version of Stack and Pack. That's all this is.
Excellent call, Victor. Excellent call. You're right about that, too. The problem is you've got the Grand Apartments right there at 12th and Grand. In the last couple of weeks, we reported it, asking the city for extended subsidies because they're struggling to get people in the building because of issues the downtown council cannot control. But that's a great point and a great call. Coming up, I want to hear from the farmers. We'll tell you why after the drama around cattle and more next. Where are my farmers and ranchers at? 913-408-7957. You are at the center of the conversation right now, not just here in Kansas and Missouri, but across the heartland. And that is after the President of the United States suggested in the last couple of days that we import beef from Argentina, in part to try to bring down beef prices here in the United States. Now, this is what the president said, and it has led to Republicans across red states suggesting that, hey, this is not the play, Mr. President.
What do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying.
So that was Trump in the last couple of days. And the president was talking about how he is considering allowing more beef from Argentina to be imported to the United States to help reduce the price of beef in the United States, which is very high. I was looking up prices this morning. Live cattle's trading at about $243. And you go back to 5 years ago, it was trading at $106. So it has been a straight upward shot. And you notice this. You see it in the prices. Go to the grocery store, go to McDonald's, try to get a quarter pounder. It's one of the reasons that fast food joints have become unaffordable because of the price of beef just continuing to skyrocket. Now, this is nobody's fault. It's coincidental that yesterday I was getting lunch with a guy who's a big cattle rancher out in central Kansas. He also is big in the radio game in central and western Kansas. And I just asked him, I said, hey, you tell me, this is your lane. What's going on here? He said, well, there's a lot of reasons beef prices keep going up. A lot of reasons. But he goes, cattle ranchers are doing great right now. Getting like $4,000 a head, more than double what it was just a few years ago. So they are cleaning up. The other problem you've got, and I talked to a couple other people in the industry, but I do want to hear from you at 913-408-7957. The other thing going on here is that during the Biden years, they were subsidizing farmers to grow soybeans. Well, look at what's going on with soybeans right now. Back in 2022, soybeans were trading at about $1,700 on the futures chart. Right now, it's about $1,000. So you go back 3 years, it's down, 40%? It was supply and demand. They were subsidizing soybean farmers. They artificially increased supply. The government did that. And then demand went down. They oversupplied it. Now they've got to export a lot of these soybeans because the government got in the way. Now, when it comes to the cattle ranchers, there's a lot of reasons for that. I don't think it's cattle ranchers gouging anybody. It's just supply and demand right now. Demand is up. Supply cannot keep up with demand. It's really that simple. Small farmers are going away in rural America, including here in Kansas and Missouri. That has an impact on things as well. A lot of farmers would love to get into the cattle business, but that takes 10 plus years to ramp up. You got to have the land. You got to have the money. If you're going to buy these things and take out a loan, your interest rate's going to be 6, 7, 8%. It's not cheap. So the president, I think, is doing something that just says, hey, if this can help us alleviate prices for people in the short term, that's not a bad thing. And the other thing this rancher told me out in central Kansas, he goes, they don't have enough down there. They can't import enough beef to really have a major impact on the American rancher. They just don't have enough. I mean, maybe it can bring prices down a hair, but there's not going to be a big impact on the American cattle rancher if we even start importing some of the beef from Argentina. And right now, they import a lot of beef or they export a lot of beef to China. And if we can also hurt China in the process, that's not a bad deal. But you did have House GOP members yesterday reaching out to the administration and saying in a letter, hey, we don't want to go down this road. This was a letter that was that 8 members of the House GOP in a letter to the president last night warned the potential plan of importing beef from Argentina could rattle the multi-billion-dollar American ranching industry. The letter read in part, America's cattle producers are among the most resilient and hardworking in the nation. Collectively, the cattle industry supports thousands of jobs across our districts and contributes $112 billion to rural economies nationwide. This was a letter from House Republicans to the President of the United States. So I said, I've got to go to the experts here, and that's you. All right? That's you. Let's go to Sean. He's out in Basehor. Hey, Sean, good morning. You're on KCMO.
Hi. I guess I'm just going to touch on the Argentinian cattle. Up until just recently, we were importing a lot of beef from Mexico. North American screwworm, which is a flesh-eating fly with its larva, decimated their cattle herds. So those cattle herds don't necessarily exist right now because they're building back up. So that has what's skyrocketed American beef prices, plus there's so many family farms that are just going under. I'm a second-generation rancher. I have to teach school just to keep up with everything that all the prices and things like that. I can't ranch full time.
So you can't ranch, you can't. So are you? I mean, this guy told me yesterday. He goes, we're getting like 4,000 ahead. It used to be 1,700. He goes, the cattle side is doing very well. You're saying that for you at least, that's not what you're dealing with right now.
Well, I could probably just ranch full time right now, but this is a high market, so I'm not going to bet the whole farm on if it's just a high market and things like that.
Yeah.
But for the actual rancher, and it's higher in some places. Like you were saying, per hundredweight, it was like 249. Up in Macon, Missouri, where I've taken some of my cattle, it can go all the way up to $400 for a hundredweight of cattle. So that's basically 100 pounds of live weight.
Yeah.
Is what you're paying.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I think a lot of cattle ranchers around here have felt like the row crop farmer has been getting all the government subsidies, and we just never get those government subsidies, mostly because the USDA, animal rights activists, and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a little bit of resentment.
Yes.
And distrust of the government from most cattle ranchers.
And that is something that I sensed yesterday. That's a great point there, Sean. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you. Hang in there, all right?
Thank you. Thank you, Pete.
You
Listen
bet.
every day.
Thank you, my man. Thank you. I did sense what he just said there, that the cattle rancher feels like he has not gotten some of the benefits that the farmers have gotten when it comes to subsidies from the government. And I think that's an underlying part of this that maybe needs to be explored further. Paulie's in Missouri. Paulie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Pete. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, brother.
All right. So I am both a cattle rancher and a grain farmer. I raise soybeans, corn, wheat, and cattle. So I've got both perspectives on this deal. And I would go back to one of your comments about the government subsidizing soybeans. That was actually back in 2018 and 2019 when Trump did that back during the trade wars in his first administration. That's when that bailout was the highest there. But, you're right. Sean's right about that. The grains have received more of that. I know prior to this last run-up in the last couple of years, I was doing pretty good to break even, maybe make a few dollars on cattle. And it's a supply-demand kind of situation. Sean was absolutely right about the screwworm situation because we've shut off the border of Mexico the last several months where we normally get feeder cattle coming up here or even fats coming up for slaughter. So that's affecting things. And I think something else that's rubbing salt in the wound in agriculture in general is that the United States, the president agreed to help Argentina out economically and financially here about a month ago, and they're one of our biggest competitors. Brazil's our largest competitor in the soybean market, and Argentina is also one. So to say, okay, we helped them out economically, they're a major competitor. Now we're going to bring beef in, to help with the supply to take down beef prices. It's a little bit, hard to swallow in that regard. But I understand, consumers are paying high prices at the counter, and I get that. I totally get that. And, folks falling on hard times, it's tough, but it's good for us to be able to make a few dollars on the cattle side here. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, so this is the first time in a while you've made money on the cattle side. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, 7 or 8 years. In the last 2 years, we're finally making some decent money.
Yeah, and that's what I gathered as well, talking to people yesterday. But and you do all sides of this, Paulie. That way, you're basically limiting your liability. If one's down, hopefully the other's up, right?
Yeah, it's a risk mitigation tactic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Paulie, good stuff. Thank you, my man.
You bet.
Have a great day. Appreciate it. Mary is in Holden. Mary, good morning. You're on KCMO. Go ahead.
Good morning. I was just calling in to comment about the cattle pricing.
Yeah.
We have Highland cattle, and we're just a really small operation that just started within, the last 5 years.
How many you got?
Most definitely 13.
Okay.
There's most definitely gouging going on because it's a trendy breed right now. Because everybody thinks they're adorable. They're the ones with the long hair, and they're so cute, and they're mild-mannered. But a heifer, which is, cattle that's never given birth, I've seen them go anywhere from $10,000 to $60,000.
And what did they used to be?
When we very first started about 5 years ago, they were probably about $4,000 to $8,000.
Wow.
And the price just keeps skyrocketing on those because they're a trendy breed right now. And the beef is excellent, which we do butcher and sell our beef, and everyone we've sold to says it's the best they've ever had. Even better than Wagyu.
I'm not a Wagyu guy. I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't get the Wagyu thing. I don't understand it. It seems way overpriced, and I'd rather help out the local folks here in Kansas and Missouri.
Exactly. But there definitely is some gouging going on with the pricing, and my husband and I don't go along with that. We don't think that that's fair just because it's a trendy thing. Why gouge people to make it an extra buck?
Yeah.
So we don't charge those kind of prices when we sell or butcher. And so, of course, we're not making as much money as a lot of the other farmers are. But anyway, I just wanted to call and weigh in on that.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. I do appreciate that perspective. Have a great rest of the week. That's an important perspective to have right now. You got some bigger guys, you got smaller people all opining on this. And that's where, I've seen all the social media. Trump's trying to kill the American rancher. It sounds to me like everyone's doing really well. It doesn't mean it's going to last forever. Doesn't mean that. But also people are getting squeezed at the counter. So what can you do to mitigate some of that in the short term without killing the rancher? No one's trying to hurt the rancher here, but also alleviate some of that pain at the counter as well. And I do think the president's trying to balance that as best he can in a tough environment. 7:24, I was watching, I guess it was baseball on Monday night. That would have been the night that Mark's Mariners blew a Game 7 to go to the World Series for the first time ever against the Blue Jays, who are going back for the first time in 32 years. And I forgot that it was another night with two Monday Night Football games. And I think that 2 games on Monday night is just a terrible idea. And a new report suggests that ESPN, having aired its final Monday Night Football doubleheader this week, may not bring it back in 2026, according to a report from Front Office Sports. The network has trotted out overlapping or back-to-back matchups in each of the last 3 seasons. And according to Front Office Sports, back in August, Disney and the NFL agreed to a deal that will see ESPN acquire NFL Network and the distribution rights to NFL Red Zone, among other assets, in exchange for giving the league a 10% equity stake in ESPN. As part of the pending deal, ESPN's total number of games will increase to 28, not including the Super Bowl. All 28 of those ESPN-controlled games are guaranteed to be standalone TV windows. So that's why, in part, you've had some of these back-to-back Monday Night Football games. But I have not been a fan of this over the last, it feels like every week so far this season, we've had back-to-back Monday Night Football games. And I'm like, can we just get one Monday Night Football game here? Can we get a standalone primetime Monday Night Football game, John, and just be done with it? Because then I care less about both games instead of having my energy potentially towards one Monday Night Football game.
That was the deal. It used to be the primetime thing. You were the 2 teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the main feature. My mind's a little hazy on this, but it seems like one time, I don't know if it was a hurricane or some reason, we didn't have a game and it got canceled, and so we couldn't have that. So we decided to double up, it seemed. But one of them's always the bastard stepchild game,
Yes.
You're only on in your market, and the rest of the nation doesn't. Maybe they're following online, but, they're not really caring much.
Let's be honest, too. Sunday Night Football has hurt Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you remember going back a generation before there was Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football was a huge deal. Now, by the time you get to Monday Night Football, it's like dessert on Christmas. You're like, I don't know if I have room for this. It's like, between Thursday night and then now you got big college games on Friday night. Then you got Saturday. Then you got Sunday. Then you got Sunday night. By Monday, it's like, I'm full, man. I'm kind of full.
It's the whole thing where you have the family meal where you eat the dinner, and you go ahead and you have the dessert, and then you're back to main courses again because you're, just going salt, sugar on the taste buds.
Oddly enough, the only time when there wasn't a doubleheader this year was when it was Chiefs-Jags.
Yes.
And Chiefs are going to be on Monday Night Football next week, so there's you know what? The Chiefs can have it.
Well, you're right. They're not going to screw with the Chiefs. They've had some of these mediocre games as well, to your point there, Mark, which I think hurts the product. Just have one great standalone game, or as great a game as you can get, and let that game be your star of the week. This doubleheader thing, like a 6 start and then a 9 o'clock start, it's like, I'm not, East Coast, that's a 10 o'clock start. People are not staying up until 1:30 in the morning on a Monday night.
They try to get the Jets some coverage, God bless their pointed heads, but who cares, right? You're better off with a division game, an interdivision game. You can't really predict how the season is going to play out, so always go with a division game.
Yep, we need you running these TV networks, John. Who needs these hacks at ESPN and NBC and Fox? I mean, just put John Anthony in charge.
Marching bands at halftime. Ain't no Bad Bunny around here.
Oh, man. Coming up on KCMO. A local city on the Kansas side is trying to steal a big business from KCMO. It's not a sports team. We'll tell you what it is and who it is next. So Locked In is right now down on the plaza. But Leawood wants them. Leawood is offering a pretty cushy deal to get Locked In headquartered right now, right on the plaza, across State Line to basically State Line Road and College Boulevard. And as you'll hear from Fox 4, obviously, what are we going to get? We are going to get mixed use. Everybody loves some mixed use. Here's the report from Fox 4 and what this project is going to potentially look like. And you'll hear from Mayor Lucas, who, of course, will be on the show tomorrow morning at this time, where he says, hey, we're always taking the slings and the arrows, and people want to be here. They don't want to be in Leawood. I get it. He's got to say what he's got to say. But the mayor's being disingenuous here. Let's take a listen.
Whether it's talking about professional sports teams or big businesses, everyone is always coming at us.
These renderings from our partners at the KC Business Journal show what a new locked-in corporate headquarters office campus could look like in Leawood. The council in that Kansas suburb has approved a mixed-use rezoning and preliminary site for this idea. And Locked In is not hiding the fact that they are interested in the location, calling it a special site.
Here's the difference. The culture, the business environment, the vibrance that people celebrate is in the core of our city. If you're looking to attract impressive talent from around the globe, if you're looking to attract young people from around the globe, you go to where young people and our great talent want to be.
Well, hold on. That's literally me and many of you. If you want to attract, not that I'm impressive talent at all, but I'm just a guy, right, who came here 7.5, 8 years ago now and did live in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Trust me, nothing impressive, but did live in KCMO. And then the minute we had some children, now work was also on the Kansas side for us, so that was part of the equation as well, we decided to leave. It was nice while we were down there. This was all pre-COVID, pre the dumb protests of 2020, the Summer of Love, things like that. It was a lot better, as I understand it, where we lived, right around 6th and Broadway, than it is today. But it was like between thinking about long-term issues like schools, livability, what we want to do, it was not a difficult choice. And, I mean, we could have obviously looked at somewhere else on the Missouri side. Either side of the state line has great options across the board. But my point is, from a KCMO perspective, right, for the mayor to say this is where people want to be, I don't know. When I've got really nice apartment buildings downtown at 12th and Grand saying we can't make it right now, can we get some more help from the city by way of subsidies? And these are, I mean, rooftop pools, the whole deal. I've looked at some of these apartments just to see what they're like, especially when at 12th and Grand was asking for more help from the city. It's like they got the rooftop pool. They got all the amenities, everything you would want. They got the gym, and they're not making it work. So I understand, the mayor's got to say, hey, we're the big city. People are coming after us. They're gunning for us. They're trying to take our businesses. I get it, but why are the businesses even considering it? They're considering it because, in part, the plaza's gone to hell in a handbasket compared to what it was, even just a few short years ago. There are empty storefronts all over the place. Now, of course, you could live in Kansas and go to the plaza and commute and work there. There's plenty of people that obviously do that, cross state line for work. That's not unusual by any stretch. But the mayor is really putting a very positive spin on why this is even being considered and why this is something that Lockton would even look at. Now, I'll also knock Leawood and say, well, I want to see the devil in the details of what exactly you're putting on the table for Lockton across the state line. Because I remember just a few short years ago, Governor Kelly and Governor Parson signed this border war deal, and it was like, we're not going to steal each other's companies. And now, whether it's sports teams or potentially Lockton, you've got Kansas basically scrapping the whole thing. So I'd like to see some of that. It's not part of this Fox 4 report, but you know and I know that the city of Leawood probably put a pretty nice offer on the table to try to drum across state line. And that's a joke as well. So that's where I will defend the mayor and defend Kansas City and being like, this is not good for anybody to just cross the state line and be like, we're going to do it with tax incentives and we're basically not creating any new jobs. Now they're creating new commercial revenues for the city of Leawood. But once again, at what cost? At what cost? What do the subsidies actually look like? Here's more from the Fox 4 report from Malik Jackson.
New ownership looks to make its mark on the timeless gym that is the plaza. We reached out for comment on this development. A spokesperson instead sent us a statement announcing 3 new businesses that will be coming to the plaza that Fox 4 first reported about back in September and did not comment on the possibility of Lockton jumping the state line to Kansas.
We're not just standing back. We're going to make sure that we compete for them and know that Kansas City is a good option for them.
And this is what I hate. The word compete means what? It means ultimately your taxpayer dollars. When the government says compete, they don't mean like, let's figure out how to make the playing field as level as possible and make this as great a place to do business as we possibly can. They say, we have all this red tape. We have all this bureaucracy. No one likes it. So let's try to figure out how to give favorable status to big business while the little guy still has to try to cut through all the red tape. Let's be honest. That's what this means. And once again, the mayor's in this spot in part because of some of these shortcomings of KC Mo, but also because, whether it's Leawood or anybody else on the Kansas side of the state line wanting to play this game. So both sides to me are at fault here. Kansas City has not done a good job on behalf of its businesses and its residents, making it as desirable a place to live and do business as it possibly can. And then Kansas sees that and says, let's try to take them, but let's do it by offering up the farm by way of taxpayer subsidies. So everybody comes out looking like a loser here in part. Of course, the business makes out like a king. That's fine. I guess they're entitled to take advantage of governments that are going to just bend over backwards for whatever they want. Taxpayer be damned. But it's really not good for the average person. It doesn't benefit the run-of-the-mill taxpayer. Leawood will probably say, hey, this will keep your property taxes low. But the problem with that argument is they continue, and I don't mean this just for Leawood, I mean this for all of them. They continue to grow their city governments at unsustainable paces. They just can't keep up. So what they really mean is maybe we won't raise your property taxes as much next year. Maybe. That's it. It's a big maybe. But they sell it to the residents by being like, this will help keep your property taxes low. Now, I want to see your spending getting checked. That's what I want to see. Whether it's Leawood, Overland Park, Olathe, they've all got some of the same problems. They are growing spending at unsustainable rates. And then what they do is they all try to compete for the same new business ideas, the same new apartment complexes. They claim it's going to keep your property taxes low. They give away the farm through subsidies. And then when the next one comes up, they allow that one to go through. And it never actually works out for the resident, him or herself. It never does. But they sell you the same old bag of tricks every single time. It's 7:43 on a Wednesday. We'll talk to the mayor about this tomorrow when he's on the show at 7:30 right here on KCMO. I have been waiting for this business. Speaking of business, I'd like people to compete for around here. I have been waiting for this business to come to Kansas City. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. And we have the answer as to why it won't happen. Coming up next on KCMO. All right. I've been waiting for this answer for a long time. Finally got it. This may be the best piece the Kansas City Star has ever written, which I know may not be saying much. Somewhat of a tallest midget argument here. But either way, it's an important one. They wrote it yesterday. Shout out to author Jenna Thompson. Thank you, Jenna, for this very important piece in the Kansas City Star. Why doesn't Brahms come to Kansas City? Oklahoma ice cream maker explains. Now, this is the kind of journalism I can get behind for the Kansas City Star. I might buy a subscription. No, I won't do that. Okay, no, I'm not going that way.
He's a nut job.
Easy.
Yeah. Almost had you there, John. John, you should have seen his face when I suggested I might actually get a subscription. Okay. So basically, the story goes on the note here that Brahms is not in Kansas City. They have considered venturing as far as Lawrence, but apparently they are experiencing delays on that. As long as they're open by the time I have a kid in college, I'll be okay. All right? Not that they're going to go to Lawrence, but, if they're heading out that way, maybe I can at least stop at the Lawrence Brahms if they open up by, 2035, give or take. I got some time.
There's one in Emporia.
I know. No, that's right. Okay.
For state basketball tournaments and
all right.
stuff.
That's good. Yeah, you're right. I've been to that one, actually. But the story goes on the note, and it has an official statement from Brahms, that Brahms recently slackened its former rule of not venturing 300 miles from the farm in Oklahoma to open up a store because they want to keep their stuff fresh. That number is now 330 miles. Kansas City is not on their radar because the metro lies at least 360 miles away from their farm, this 10,000-acre family farm in Tuttle, Oklahoma, which is southwest of Oklahoma City. So they've got to be within this 330-mile radius. But there are 3 properties the company recently purchased in Topeka and a spot in Lawrence that also is experiencing some delays. Neither have clear timelines for openings. So that is why it looks like we are not going to get that Brahms anytime soon. And I don't exactly know what to do about this, except I guess make more day trips down to Emporia. That's the answer, John.
Well, if we covered that extra 30 miles and you just made it yourself right off the truck, it might be fresh enough, right? Here's the deal. You got to pat it yourself.
Oh, that's not a bad idea, man. Hey, in a post-radio life, maybe that'll be part of my business model, opening up a couple of Brahms and trying to squeeze them out to 340 miles outside of Tuttle, Oklahoma.
You don't want to get the Schumer cheeseburger, right?
Dude, oh gosh, I'm just thinking about those cheeseburgers right now. The last one I had was down in Springfield on the way back from the lake this summer.
I've been to the Carthage one.
Oh gosh, it just hits every time. Every single time. It never misses. When I was down in Woodward, we had 2 Brahms in a town of 10,000 people down there in Oklahoma. And that is where I got hooked on the text line. And I got some of this on social media yesterday. Pete, I'm still upset with your Casey's Pizza take. You must try the jalapeno popper pizza. I have not had it. I am willing to give it a shot because at that point, you're not really talking about pizza. You put jalapenos on it, it's not really a pizza anymore anyway. It's kind of like just something completely different. So I am willing to give that a shot at some point here in the near future. I will give the jalapeno popper pizza a chance from Casey's. Do you guys have a rating on that? Any opinion there?
I've never had that one. The taco pizza is popular at my house.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Fine. I can do it. John?
I'm just one of those guys that eats almost any kind of pizza. It's got to be really bad for me to go, that sucks. I've done those little Lunchable things where they're kind of raw and you put the sauce right on the little tortilla.
Yes.
Those aren't quite good enough for me. Got to warm it up at least. Yeah.
All right.
I'll eat about anything.
I'll come back with a full review at some point. And, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to hold back on what I think of it, but I'm willing to give that a shot. All right. And we can all agree to disagree potentially on what that tastes like. What is Brahms on the text line? It's only the best fast food joint that is not yet national in the country. Ice cream, burgers, Oh, the fries are fantastic. BRAUMS if you haven't had it. All right. You going down to Emporia or the lake, check it out down in Springfield as well. This story went viral yesterday. A so-called young mom in Scotland has admitted to bizarrely faking her entire pregnancy and even trying to pass off a silicone doll as her newborn. I kid you not. Kira Cousins, 22 years old, issued an apology yesterday after her massive hoax was uncovered and started spreading rapidly across social media. There was no baby, she writes. I was not pregnant. I made it up and I kept it going way too far. I faked scans, messages, a whole birth story, and acted like a doll was a real baby. This woman, Kira Cousins, managed to fool her loved ones, including who she claimed was the baby's father, into believing she was pregnant and had given birth to a little girl. Cousins sported a growing prosthetic bump to fuel the ruse and held a lavish gender reveal party in the weeks before the birth. I'm looking at a photo of the silicone baby. It's the fakest looking baby I've ever seen in my life. I mean, this is a psychopath is what this is. The fact that you took it so far that you tried to pass a silicone baby as a real baby means you're an absolute psychopath. As part of the elaborate hoax, Cousins also posted images of scans and even claimed tests had detected a heart defect in the baby. She then claimed she gave birth alone and promptly started showing off pictures of the newborn, which looks as fake as one of my kids' dolls. I mean, my daughters have dolls that look more real than this baby does. I'll post this on social media if you want to check it out on Facebook. The wild sham came crashing down, though, when her mom found the doll in her bedroom last week. Oh, my goodness. Cousins went as far as to telling the supposed father that the newborn had died. This is insane. Some loved ones had claimed that they started becoming suspicious when no one had heard the baby cry and that Cousins would not let anybody touch the newborn. Did any family member touch her belly at all if she was going with the fake stomach? Did anyone that is just what you do, right? Oh, let's feel the baby kick. Oh, not with anybody, but with family at least. Hey, let's feel the baby in there. What did she say? No one can touch my stomach. And then you tried to pass off a fake doll as your child. And the doll obviously never cried when she was carrying this thing around. You know what else I take out of this story? Her family's filled with idiots. I mean, this has got to be the dumbest family in Scotland that she was able to pull this off for 9 months. And the only way her mom found out was literally by picking up the silicone doll baby. This says just as much about the family as it does the fake mom.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeez, that is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. She took the right action. That is what the mother of the Blue Valley child is saying in the wake of teacher Barb Hart getting fired last week. The mother has spoken with the parent. Channel 41 has spoken with the parent of the child. And they said that the teacher took the right action during the incident with her son. This ties back to the 5-year-old who was having an episode in the hallway at Sunset Ridge Elementary. And Barbara Hart was called in to help. And what happened? She removed the child from the situation physically, obviously. We don't know if she picked the child up or she tugged the child or what exactly happened. But she touched the child in some way to remove the child from the situation and move the child into her classroom. This child also was special needs. And that got her fired. The mother telling Channel 41, I feel really sorry for her. I know we didn't want this to happen. I feel she, the teacher, Barb Hart, took the right action. The mother is not showing her face. She is not sharing her full name out of concern for her son. She adds here, I don't want other parents or students to look at my son differently, she told Channel 41. Now, I can respect that at this point because that's a very difficult situation. This parent didn't want to be a part of this. This parent had no interest in making this teacher out to be some kind of example. She does not want this teacher fired, and now Barb Hart is out of a job. Would Blue Valley just do the right thing? Okay, the school board voted 6-1 to fire her. I know for a fact there are school board members who didn't want this teacher fired, but they were afraid of the administration, which is the opposite of how this should work. The school board is the elected body to be a check and a balance against the unelected bureaucrats at the school administration. All these people want to protest Kings. How about you go protest Blue Valley? That place apparently operates much more with a king mentality than anything going on in the federal government. School board members are afraid to vote against the administration. The school board members that you elect. How pathetic is that? Blue Valley can right this wrong. It is admirable to admit when you screwed up. I don't know if Blue Valley has the backbone to do it because it's not how these big government-run operations and bureaucracies typically operate. Sad to say. But boy, I would be so pleasantly surprised if they just came out and did the right thing here. I don't know if they have the ability to do it. We'll have to wait and see. But the mother is now talking to television stations in Kansas City saying that this teacher, Barb Hart, did the right thing on behalf of her child. And as somebody else told me last week or in the last couple of days, there was another student in the days after Barb Hart was fired who had a meltdown in the hallway, and the teachers basically tried to barricade the kid without touching the child because they were scared to death of possibly being the next Barb Hart, which goes to show you how this is going to go now with little kids having episodes in elementary schools around Blue Valley, and I believe around Kansas City in the wake of what happened, John.
Well, it's a little too late to do the right thing. You can undo the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Let's call it that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Undo the wrong thing.
Right.
How about that? Speaking of the wrong thing, oh, jeez. Did you see what the president said yesterday about the Obama library? I don't know why he got asked the question, but somehow, I guess when you're President Trump and you literally talk to the media every single day, people run out of things to ask you. You know, they ask you all the big, right. They're asking you all the big stuff. And he's like, who else? What else you got for me? Give me something good. Well, he got asked about the Obama library, and the Obama library, in case you didn't know, is significantly over budget. The latest cost estimates are $850 million, tripling the initial estimate of $300 million. It is behind schedule. It is over budget. And Trump, the construction guy, Trump, the real estate guy, well, this one was put on a tee for him.
You're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've seen help. Have you seen pictures of the architecture? And
yeah, I did. It's not too pretty. No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. I mean, he's building a library / museum. You know, you call it some museum, and usually they call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You know, I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we used the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggest that you get them involved. But they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget. And I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories. But that's the way our country was run under President Obama, too. Nobody knew it.
You know, you can tell he took some joy in that one. And the moral of the story is, to me, it is a classic example of a guy who's been in the real world versus a guy who hasn't. Obama, community organizer to U.S. Senator to President of the United States. Of course, his library is over budget by hundreds of millions of dollars and behind schedule. He hasn't built anything in his life. And then there's Trump, the old real estate guy, just showing off his chops, being like, you know what? Of course. Obama's library is over budget and behind schedule. Of course.